take my mind.
Welcome back to another episode of Saying Samar Today podcast, the hottest podcast on the planet.
Yes, we are the hottest podcast on the planet, and today we have a very special guest with us, Miss Eunice Flowers, the next commissioner of North Miami Beach.
Ooh.
How you love that? How you love that? How you love that, Eunice? How you love that?
I like that. That was good. Yeah.
Eunice Flowers, the next commissioner of North Miami Beach.
Yeah, it's very prophetic. Right?
Yeah.
I see you repping the colors too, the blue. You repping N.M.B.
Yes, well, actually, blue's my favorite color, but yeah.
Mine
Okay.
too. Go ahead, girl.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
wonderful.
Uh-huh.
Well, we are very happy to have you. We know that elections are coming up. And so with you being here with us, it's like a special treat, right? Considering these gentlemen over here grew up in North Miami Beach, right?
Right.
Oh, it's nostalgic a little bit,
Yes, it
right?
is. Yes, it is.
I spent a little bit of time on 7th Ave. It's not North Miami Beach, but you know.
No, that you far from North Miami Beach.
So I wanted to ask you a few questions, just so our viewers and everyone out there can kind of get to know you and who you are and what you represent.
Okay.
Right? So can you share some of maybe like the key issues right now that North Miami Beach is facing?
So some of the key issues. Oh, that was a good question. Right now, we have a lot of political disarray in the city. I know we have, I want to say, maybe two schools of thoughts where the city's kind of divided in terms of half the commissioners have half of the city and the other half have another half of the city.
How is that possible?
I think it's more, it goes with the climate of what Miami-Dade County is like, right?
Okay.
So people identify with those who are more like themselves.
Gotcha.
Right? And that's overall, that's in general,
Right.
the way that people are.
Right.
Right? Anything that's out of the norm, anything that's different is scary. And so people don't usually align with whatever's different.
Right.
Right?
Understood.
So
Now, so before we even dig deeper into you running for commissioner, what inspired you to run?
So what inspired me to run? I think it's just the work that I've been doing all together in the community, and just knowing that I had a mentor tell me, he was like, when you go out and speak, you need to tell them that you're not a politician, you're a public servant. And I think that
makes a difference.
Yeah, that's what's making the difference, and that's what's the inspiration that I'm getting, right? Because even though there's a division in the city, I fit with both parties. So
That's important.
I think that, the way, just my personality overall, not being a political person per se, I know how to bring people together.
So what is it that you are hoping to achieve?
I'm hoping to bring the
People
two
together.
parties together.
Okay.
Right? So
That's fair, gentlemen.
Oh, I don't have any specific political questions. I'm just more intrigued that you're into politics more than anything, because I know your personality. I know you very well. So I believe that when in fact you do win, I think the people at N.M.B are going to be well served.
Thank you.
I know you for so many years, you know what I'm saying? Because you even helped me, boy. And she would not give up on me. So I know you ain't going to give up on the city at N.M.B. They have no idea what they're getting in their hands, you know what I'm saying? But I do,
Oh, I appreciate that.
Well,
Thank you.
I just want to congratulate you, Eunice. I don't really have much or whatever. I gather my thoughts. Once I gather my thoughts, I definitely have some questions for you. But I want to congratulate you because it takes a lot of courage to run for political office. It's not an easy task. Especially campaigning and trying to put a team together. So what that's been like for you? Putting a team together to market and campaign.
So I've been, I want to say, grateful, fortunate to have a few mentors kind of guide me in the right way. The political arena, it's okay. So it's just like anything else, right? So we have this ongoing thing where, being that I'm in Miami, I'm just going to say Miami. In Miami, if you're a nonprofit person, every event you go to, nonprofit people are going to be there.
Okay.
And just like, so if you're into entertainment, any events you go
Right.
to, entertainment people are going to be there. It's just like minds are always in the same space. They find each
agree.
other.
Got it.
And it's the same thing as the political arena. So now that I'm into politics, everywhere I go is a bunch of politicians and people who work in politics.
Got it.
So when you see a candidate like me, there's a whole bunch of people in the background that are supporting that person, right? To even give them the gall to stand up somewhere, to go on a podcast,
Right.
to knock on doors, because without those people behind you, it's a lonely place. It's hard to navigate because there's so much. Like, so basically, you don't want to get into the wrong crowd, right? But then sometimes you don't know what the right crowd is,
Right.
and then it's just learning. It's just a new thing for me, just a
Right.
learning curve, right? Just like anything else. When I first started my businesses, I had to learn the ropes. You have to get in the waters in order to test, to test the temperature, see what it's like. So that's what it's been for me. It's been up and it's been down. It's been round and round, right? A lot of last minute things, like people find. They'll call you and be like, "Can you go to this place right now?" And you're
Oh,
like,
my
"Wait, I'm
goodness.
on the way to something." No, make a reroute and make a
wow.
U-turn and go over here because you gotta meet this person, you gotta meet that person. So it's a lot so right?
Okay.
So
Got it.
yeah,
That could be exciting and
it can be
scary.
depending,
Yeah.
depending.
That's a lot. So I did notice that community engagement was a big part of your campaign.
Yes.
Right. So how do you plan to involve your residents in the decision-making process and ensure that their voices are heard?
So it's the same way or the same strategies that I've been utilizing for my campaign. So I've been doing phone calls, surveys that way, sending surveys through email.
Okay.
That way you're reaching each person one by one, right?
Okay.
Because the thing about human beings is that they want to feel that they're the only person at the time.
Yeah, they want to have your attention.
Yes.
Right.
And so those strategies work, right? Going door to door.
Yeah.
The emails, the phone calls, because then they feel like, oh my goodness, this person,
she cares.
right?
Yeah.
It's not like she didn't group me up with a bunch of people, right?
Yeah.
So I want to employ those same types of strategies even when I'm in the seat to engage the community.
Ooh, well, I have a question.
Yes.
What made you want to get into politics?
So, okay.
Good question.
Yeah, great question. Because although I've been doing community work for quite some time, there are certain vantage points or certain levels that you get to where you can do more. And I feel that being a commissioner, I would be able to do more, right? If you know how a lot of things work, for instance, if I have a great idea as a business person in a city, a lot of times it's going to be difficult to reach the amount of people that you want to reach. But the commissioner already has that seat, and the commissioner can advocate for you, and the commissioner can be that voice because they know a lot of people because they're in that seat. And so I feel, and they have more leverage too in terms of money, in terms of other influencers that they can reach. So I said, you know what? I've been doing a lot of community work down here, and it's difficult if you don't have that type of influence in your corner.
Right.
And so I was just like, I care about what I care about, and I have a group of people who care about what I care about as well. And so I need to be that voice for that group, right? So, yeah.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
How does your mom feel about you getting into politics?
So that's a heavy question, right? It's loaded. I think the question is loaded because we live in a capitalistic society, right?
Yes, we do.
And because we live in a capitalistic society, men dominate the society as well. And money rules. And women are seen almost as second-class citizens, although we've made a lot of strides in this particular society, right? And I'm talking about the American society. Because you can go somewhere else and it's different for women somewhere else.
Right.
And so being that a lot of our parents are old school, right? And, you know, they say it's hard to teach a old dog new tricks, right? And so for your parents, a lot of times if they haven't navigated a certain space, it's scary for them. And so they'll tell you no because they
They're
feel that
scared.
it's safe. Yeah, it's a safer route.
Yeah.
She's excited.
Oh, she is?
She's super excited
Yay.
because she knows that I'm a bulldog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she knows that.
Right.
She tells everyone in the family, she's like, this girl right here, she fights.
Because you have her personality.
She never gives up. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah.
I'm gonna come see you, Mom. I'm gonna come see. I'm gonna come over there. Yes, I am. I love your mom.
Yeah,
Now, I see economic development is something really huge as well
Yes.
within your campaign, right? So the question I have is, what strategies are you planning on implementing which will drive sustainable growth to the North Miami Beach area?
I love the way you position that question. So all three of my platforms are supposed to meld, right? They're supposed to engage each other. So if you know anything about South Florida, money in South Florida is in the youth, right?
Yeah.
So education's a big money maker here,
Yes.
right? People care about their children. So if you have programs that are quality programs, it doesn't matter where a person lives. They could live in the slum of the slums. But if that program is quality, they're going to find a way to put that child in that program and pay for it.
Yes,
right?
they will.
And so I say that to say this. So if you engage youth, right, you have youth programming, now you're generating the economy, right? So then that covers the economic development portion.
Yeah.
And so then I want to bring in arts and culture, because arts and culture, when you have shows, you have events, it brings the community together.
Yes.
Right?
Not to mention the jobs and the income and
yes, and that also ties in with the economic development as well. So when you think about arts and culture, say for instance, I'm putting together a Haitian show, right? Like some type of Haitian heritage show. So you're engaging the Haitian culture, right? You're celebrating their culture. And then on top of that, those who aren't Haitian, you bring them in because now you're teaching them about the Haitian culture. So then what happens is the community now comes together because I know you, we're celebrating you, and then you get to shine.
Yeah.
So that's what brings people together, right?
like
when you
that.
think about it. So that's why those are my three platforms.
I like that.
That's awesome, because I was just getting ready to ask you about the youth, because I'm a big advocate for the youth,
Yes.
you know, because they're the future.
Yes.
So I'm glad that, of course, you have something planned. Hopefully you win. I'm rooting for you to win.
Yes,
You know what I'm
yes.
saying? So our pupils can win at the same time.
We do. We
Yeah.
need to win.
Yeah.
And when we say our peoples, we want to say, be very careful, right? Because our peoples are the community.
Right.
Because we need everybody
Right.
that's a part of the community.
Right.
So, yeah. And I remember I was telling Ralph, my girls are cheering this year for the Sun Devils.
Oh, okay.
And the Sun Devils for us was a huge proponent in
was.
growing up, right?
Yes, it
That
was.
was another thing that brought the community together. I don't know if you know anything about the Sun
Yeah, I
Devils.
played for
Did
the
you
Sun
play? Oh, you
Devils.
played.
Yeah,
Okay.
I played for the
So
Sun Devils.
my cousins played, my brothers played, and we loved going to the Sun Devils games.
Right.
But it's not the same anymore. So when we were growing up, there were probably like 13 teams. Now there are 4. You know what I mean? So and 80% of the parents, or I would say the kids that play for the Sun Devils, don't live in North Miami Beach.
Oh, wow.
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 Right? I did a whole survey. Yeah, I'm a nerd like that. Like,
Really?
yeah, I
But
don't
that's
like shooting out
important to
information.
know.
but
She was in there?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, I
really
know.
I was gonna
important
say,
to
it is
know.
important to know.
Eunice is a
Because that
big
means that the
nerd.
community is not as actively involved.
Exactly. And now you have to find out, why is the community not
I
involved,
wonder
right?
why, though.
You're going to have to figure that out, huh?
that's-
I think once she gets into office, she'll
Figure it out.
Yeah.
So with that, just to touch on the Sun Devils in that situation. So how do you think as a community we can rebuild just that program? Because a lot of those programs, football, whether it be football, baseball, soccer, it brings the children together. It really does, like
the community
the
together.
parents, you know, like you meet new people. Because I mean, my child plays, your child plays, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
What do you think is a good way to kind of rebuild that program?
I think the first thing is highlighting the program, right? Letting
'Cause
people
I didn't know
know
anything about it.
Right. Letting people know that this program actually exists. And then the second, I want to say most important, actually to me, they go hand in hand, is actually funneling money into the programs.
Right.
Right.
And that's probably could that possibly be why it kind of dropped from maybe
I think so
13 to
too. There's
4?
no sponsorship. Because when you look at other optimistic optimist
Optimist, yes. There you go.
teams.
Yeah,
Right.
Yes, other optimist teams. They have a lot of sponsorship.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't ever remember the Sun Devils having
Nah, we
sponsorship.
never-
Back in the days, we did.
Like
back
who?
in the days,
What
I
company?
know. Back in the days, I believe we had the L House. I'm talking
Really?
about the '90s. Yeah, the '90s. Like,
Y'all
Wait, how old
boys
are
had
you,
the-
Al?
I'm 41.
Wait, y'all boys had the Air
You
House?
said the 90s.
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause
There's
I-
no way you played in the
I
90s
played
and
in
you're
90
41.
No, I played in '95. '95 for the Sun Devils. I
Oh,
played
so
94.
fifth, like
Yeah,
fifth
94,
grade.
95. I
Okay,
remember the
okay.
old Al House that was on the
Yeah, yeah.
that was on 163rd. Yeah, they used to sponsor
Oh, for
us.
real?
Yeah, you go in there and you see our pictures in there.
Oh,
wow.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. We had sponsorships.
Huh.
Sun Devils. Yeah, I can recall.
See?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
we had
I played
we
90, 96,
we had
97.
sponsorships. Trust me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we can bring that back. That would be, I think that would be a great thing.
Right.
Yeah, because the kids
Yeah.
are there. I mean,
Yeah.
the kids are there. They're just not, they don't have the
No.
programs.
Right.
Right.
And then so the parents, so the parents don't live in the city, right? But they grew up in the city.
So they're bringing their kids back
They
to
bring
play.
the kids back, but a lot of
Wow.
them live in Miramar.
And it's a drive.
Yeah, it's a drive.
Wow.
I have one parent lives in Kendall
Wow. And drive all the way to North Miami Beach.
That's dedication, though.
to put the child in.
That's
in the
dedication.
What's
Sun
what's all the old coaches that used to coach for
They're still there. A lot of them are still there.
but I'm talking about like the
We need you
the
guys to
pioneer-
coach.
the pioneers, like, you know, the like for me, like Coach Dunn, if he could, whenever Coach Dunn called me, like, he already
You were
I'm
there.
because I
Mm.
yeah, Coach Dunn, man, I love Coach Dunn.
Why? But why was that? Why?
Coach Dunn?
Yeah. Why
He-
was it that whenever he called, you were there?
Because whenever I call, he was there.
Mm.
So whenever I call Coach Dunn, I can call him right now. He gonna pick up.
He was a good
I don't care.
mentor.
I don't care what he
Mhm.
doing. If I call Coach Dunn right now, he gonna say, "What's up, man? You all right?
Mhm.
I'm gonna call you. If whatever he doing, he gonna pick up.
Mhm.
He gonna say, I'm gonna call you right back if he's
Right.
busy. But so when he calls, automatically I'm right there. But I think Coach Dunn is one of the pioneers for the Sun
Yeah,
Devils.
yeah.
You know,
yes.
and he's still well and still going, and he loves football. Those are the kind of people we need to bring back to the Sun Devils.
I wonder
Right.
who's the commissioner, because when I played, it was Commissioner
Well,
Reginald.
Steve is supposed to take over
Right.
as commissioner.
But it
Coach Dunn was telling
No, I'm
me.
talking about for the Sun Devils.
Yeah,
Randy-
Steve Gideon. You know
Oh,
Steve?
okay,
He's
yeah,
supposed
yeah,
to be taking
Yeah,
over
Randy's
Coach Dunn.
still. But
Okay.
Randy's still.
Coach Randy?
Yeah.
Okay. Because when I played, it was Commissioner Reginald Johnson.
Mhm.
He was very hands-on. He got the sponsorships. We didn't lack. We had clothes. We had no uniforms. Whatever we need, we had it.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why I'm surprised that the program has fallen. You know what I'm saying?
By the
Hard
wayside,
time,
huh?
on the
Yeah.
wayside. Yeah.
You know what? Too, I not to deviate from the whole issues of the city and everything, but just looking as a whole, I think when we were children, there was more purpose-driven talk,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
right? And so I think that's missing for the generation that is growing up now.
Yeah.
Where when we were in school, it was always, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Right.
Okay, or what problem in the world do you want to solve? And I have children that are in school now, and they don't ask them those questions anymore.
Mm-mm.
And I think maybe that's part of the issue as well. Like, we don't have those neighborhood heroes anymore. We don't
Right.
have, because there's no, if we're not talking about purpose, then I don't need a leader to pour into me,
Right.
because
I
I'm
don't need
not
a mentor.
going anywhere.
Right.
No.
But I think along with that, it comes the changes that have occurred over the years. You know, I feel like, well, for myself, growing up in the 90s, it's night and day to what these kids are, what these kids are growing up into now. So I think, like you said, we were asked those questions, and that was important to us.
It was.
You know, when a teacher asks, what do you want to be? You go home and you're like, oh, what do I want to, like, you're actually thinking about it.
Right.
As opposed to these children now, they answer you so quick, I don't know. And there's no thought into it. I don't know.
Right.
You know, they don't really care. So I don't know. I guess that's something to look into, how we can engage them a little bit more and make them see value in actually having a career.
Right.
Or doing something impactful.
Right.
Because I don't think that they see the value in that anymore.
Right.
That starts at home though.
It
Like,
does.
as parents,
It
But
does.
as when you have teachers that are like, for me, I would say school was like a safe haven for me. I loved school. I loved going to school. I went to anything that was going on at school, I was there.
You were there.
And they knew they had to take me. I don't care if it was a spelling bee.
Well, that's
I'm
good for
there.
you. Speak for
But school
yourself.
was my
Outlet.
Yes, it was an outlet for me. So I was a nerd.
Yeah.
So
Speak for
but
yourself.
so my teachers knew that. So my teachers poured into me.
Yes.
They encouraged me to like challenge myself and do things that the other students probably weren't doing.
Right.
But it was because I wanted to, and they saw that I wanted to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now sometimes we look at our children and we say, "Wow, I want you to have that experience," not really realizing they don't want it. They don't have the same desires that we have because their outlook on life is slightly different from ours.
Right. So I think for me, right, when we were growing up, because we're 80s babies, right?
Right.
Meaning we were born in the 80s, not that we grew up in the 80s.
Right.
And if you look at the civil rights movement, it was only a few years before we were born.
Mm-hmm.
So the country still was at a place where Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, there was like an outward, I want to say, fight, an outward challenge, right?
You have to be something.
For the society. So we were part of that, right? And so when we were going to school, like Miss Beverly Williams, if you're watching this, I know, I hope you are. If you ever, she was pivotal for me, right? She was my gifted teacher at Oak Grove Elementary, and I remember she used to always tell me, "You're gonna change your family's life. You're that beacon of hope, that beacon of light," right?
Yep.
And so even when I had challenges and things would get hard, I always remembered like her voice would play in the back of my head.
Right.
And now we don't have those outward challenges, right? So when you look at it, a lot of us live in the same neighborhoods that Caucasians live in. As before, like in the 80s, the early 90s, a lot of us didn't have white neighbors.
Right.
True.
Right? There was an outward
Everyone
fight.
outside was like us.
There was an outward thing. And so now, since we're kind of like assimilated there, you don't really see a lot of that financial difficulty. A lot of us work in the same types of places. So it's like,
Perspective change.
Right. So what impact can you make now?
Yeah.
Because I could drive a Maserati now.
Yeah,
you know, I
exactly.
could be in a Rolls Royce. So what fight are you giving the children in order to tell them, like, I need you to be a boxer like Muhammad Ali?
Right.
You got to fight.
Yeah.
What's the fight? What's the outward fight?
Yeah.
There is none.
Yep.
I mean, there is.
Yeah,
It's
but
just,
there's
it's
really
hidden.
Yeah, but it just, that's what I'm saying. So there is none. Because as a child, when we was growing up, it was everywhere. You could pick a
Right.
fight, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you could dedicate now
Yeah.
it's, there is none. Everybody want to pretend like they're living the best life possible. Everybody's rich.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So now our children want to be influencers, right, on
It's
social
different.
media
Yeah.
and not necessarily change makers or leaders in the community.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
That's true.
And I honestly don't think they even fully understand what that means.
They don't.
You know, because they're growing up in a different time. So all they see are the influences. And to them, those are the change makers.
Yes.
Oh, I want to be like her because she
Yes.
has 1 million followers.
Yes.
I mean, which is equivalent to us back in the day saying, hey, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to be a doctor and I'm going to save lives. It's equivalent. Even though for us, it's like, that is not the same.
Yeah.
But for the age gap and the difference, that's the same for them. I remember my daughter was maybe 7. And like, that's all she said she was going to do. Like, I'm going to be an influencer. And I'm like, no, you're not. Like, you have to want more. But over time, I had to realize, she's 14 now. You guys are growing up in a different time than what we were growing up in.
Yeah.
Where it almost was, it was not an option for us.
Right.
You know, like we didn't have choices where, hey, you could just do whatever you want. No, you have to do something that's going to be impactful, something that's going to
Right.
put you in position in life. Like we were kind of raised in an environment that fostered you to be literally the best version of yourself.
You had to. That was a survival skill.
Right. And now I feel like us being parents to younger kids, it's like, well, how can I get you to be the best version of yourself, like you said, without you facing the same adversities that we faced? Because I can tell you about it all day, but if you don't actually experience it,
Right. It's
very
just a
difficult.
story.
And for them, it's just another story.
But at the end of the day, who's to blame for that? Because I think as a people, as a culture, we put so much on money, right? That we all the end justifies the means, right? So as a child, if you're seeing everybody's only talking about getting to the bag, right? So if being a constant creator means I'm gonna get to the bag,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a certain amount. That's what I'm gonna do.
That's their
So it's
new
not
norm.
about it's no longer about the quality of the work that you're doing. It's more about the quantity, what you're getting out of it.
Right.
So at the end of the day, who do you blame for that? Do you blame the children of today, or do you blame the
Parents of
adults,
yesterday.
the parents, because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, our kids, my children learn from me. Whatever you know what I'm saying, for what I stand for, they're gonna stand for.
Right.
And hopefully they evolve into something greater than what I am.
Well, it's almost like a double-edged sword, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
catch-22 because the society that we live in, the media is a heavy influence,
It is.
Right.
right? And so you have to kind of find a middle ground between the two. So I'm thinking about like my daughter, my second daughter, she's in the 3rd grade, and she came to me the other day and she was like, "Do you know what?" And I was like, What happened?" And she was like, now at my school, they let the 3rd to 5th graders have class presidents. And she said, "So guess who's
Ah.
running for class
I know
president?"
that's right.
Oh,
And
okay.
then I was like, "Oh my goodness." No, mind
Yeah.
you, she's extremely shy, right?
Aw.
This is my shy baby, but she's super intelligent.
Right.
And so she comes to me, and then I like, I had one of
Had
those
a proud
moments
moment.
like, yeah, like, you're doing it because
Yeah.
I'm doing it. And it just, and it remind,
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
what
the
it
so
is.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
So it society does influence them, but at the end of the day, parents have a heavier influence
Oh,
on the
yeah.
children because
But
they
you know
see you
what?
every
To
day.
piggyback off what Vic was saying, I was
Yeah.
watching the news, and believe it or not, a lot of Fortune 500 companies are loosening up the requirements
Mm-hmm.
because you know why?
Why?
Because a lot of kids are not going into work.
Yes, they're not going into the workforce.
They're becoming influencers now.
Yes.
So a lot of these companies, they're looking at the trajectory
Yep.
of, of their company. Like,
Right.
hold up, if we don't get these young kids
And
in
now,
now,
We're not gonna get 'em.
You're
We're
gonna
not going to get
fold.
them.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
they're gonna fold.
They're
Yeah.
going to fold. Those companies going
And
to
they
go down.
have to
Right.
adjust to the
Correct.
world, just like how we're
Exactly.
adjusting. You have to adjust because these
Mhm.
kids, they don't care. They don't care like how we care.
Yeah.
We were very serious about work. They will quit
Mhm.
really quick.
Because now their parents have money, right?
Exactly.
So this is a conversation that I had with my mother, and then I'm gonna kind of segue back
Yes.
into the whole political arena.
Mhm.
So my mother was like, "Oh, a lot of these kids, they're lazy now. They don't want to work." And I said, "But you have to understand that we're their parents,
Yeah.
right?" So the 80s babies are their parents.
Right.
And we were taught by our parents, right? Especially a lot of the 80s in Miami
Mm-hmm.
babies are immigrant children. So we're first generation
Right.
Americans. And in our society, and when I'm saying society, I'm talking about Miami-Dade County, right? I don't know about other places, but for here in Miami, especially being a first generation American, it was frowned upon to work a lot, right?
Yes.
Even though we did it,
Mm-hmm.
we did it as a means of survival, but not
Right.
because it was something that was glorified.
Gotcha.
Right.
So when we became adults,
Mm-hmm.
it not even as an adult, when as you were kind of growing up, right, teenage years or whatever, and you saw like millionaires on TV and billionaires, and then it's like, oh, they not working, so it's like you're broke if you're working a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's kind of what we've instilled in the generation too.
Mhm.
So when I have my children, it's like, oh no, they're not gonna be working. I remember when I was a teenager, I was working at the Melting Pot. I had a job at McDonald's. And it's like, oh, when I have my kids, they will not be doing that. Not realizing
Yeah.
that we were really hurting
The children.
the children,
Yeah.
right? Because they need to have work ethics. They
Yeah.
need to know what it means to work and make money.
So I'm happy you explained it in that way, because by me being American, and let's say my daughter's father, he is like first generation American. That was our debate, because me being American, I always worked. I started working when I was 14, and so for me, I was like, when my daughter turns 14, she has to work.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, she's not getting a job. She's not working anywhere. We're gonna take care of her. And I'm like, no, the hell, we're not.
Right. Because she needs to know.
Right, because you have to understand the value of a dollar. So it's an ongoing debate. Let's say that my daughter's 14 now. It's an ongoing debate. No, she has not started working.
Oh.
But I definitely understand, because as an American, it was very different for me. And I felt like with my children, I wanted them to experience what I experienced, so you understand, because I learned
Right.
early on what the
How to
value
be
of a
and
dollar
how to
was.
be responsible.
It fosters independence.
Right.
I think this was a great conversation. We do have to go. You guys stay tuned.
It's only part
because
one, though.
We have part 2 coming up.
Yes, part 2 coming up with Commissioner Eunice Flowers of North Miami
love
Beach.
Beach.
Yeah, it sounds good.
We're so happy.
It does
Nice
sound
spring.
good.
Yeah. And as always, man, me and my brother always say, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and
Hit the like button.
ding. Y'all know what's happening. We love and appreciate y'all. Stay tuned for part 2.
Peace.
Yes, sir.